Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about a Fantasy Flight Games book, Legends and Lairs, the Mastercraft Anthology. Now, Fantasy Flight Games has put out a number of third-party D20 books. There's 10 of them, maybe more at this point. I'm not really sure. This right here is a sampling of 10 of them. Now, each of the full-fledged books is like a $30 book. So Fantasy Flight Games realizes that people may not want to invest $30 into a book they're not really sure if it's going to interest them. So they put this compilation together with a little bit from each book so that you could get a sample, decide for yourself if you're interested, and then you'd be, upgrading to the full-blood book. Now, originally, it cost, $5. I picked this up used at a sale for $2. Now, I actually own all the books in here, but I wanted to see how the anthology was presented so I could talk to people online about it. And, I collect games. So, the books it covers: Mythic Races, Path of the Sword, Path of Shadow, Path of Faith, Path of Magic, Spells and Spellcraft, Seafarers Handbook, Monsters Handbook, Traps and Treachery, and Traps and Treachery 2. So, what do you get? Well, Mythic Races is what it sounds like. It's a racial compendium, and I was just discussing this with someone yesterday and talking about how much I love racial compendiums, and Mythic Races is a great book. I really need to do full-fledged reviews on all of these at some point. And you get, I think, 4 races in this sampler. The best is the Alethia, which is a race of undead skeletons. They're a high level advance, I think it's +3 level advancement because they are undead. They have a constitution score because of that, and which means you can spread your points around differently as you get higher abilities than the other 5 because you just don't have a score to worry about when it comes to constitution. It's a very cool race. Path of the Sword, which deals with obvious fighter stuff. There's a prestige class called the Dragon Warrior, which is a more martially focused dragon disciple kind of thing, emphasizing rage instead of having to worry about casting any kind of arcane spells. The Path of Shadows is obviously thiefy, roguey kind of things, and they have legendary classes in these. Now, legendary classes are a little bit different than prestige classes because they have a higher buy-in. You can't really get into them until like 9th or 10th level. And each of them has 5 levels, and each has 5 abilities. But you can take any one of the 5 abilities at any level. Now, each ability has 5 stages. So if you take one of these at first level of the legendary class, it will go up 5 times by the time you finish the class. If you take the next one at level 2, it will go up 4 times, and it continues up. So the last one you take, you will only get 1 step of it. Now, that seems like a pretty easy thing. You look at them, pick out which is best. Well, they've got one called the Jack of Knives, which I really like. And one of the abilities is a +1 bonus to your dex. Well, it's a thievy, backstabby kind of legendary class. That's a no-brainer, right? Aha! One of the other abilities is a +1 die 6 to your backstab, your sneak attack, if you use daggers. Better than a +1 bonus to your dex. Another one gives you a +1 to hit, +1 damage with daggers. Those bonuses are counted towards critical multipliers because they're not a bonus die. Which is better? So you really have to do your resource management, which works best for you. Path of Faith, they have a couple of nice prestige classes and a nice alternative spontaneous caster for divine class. So it's kind of a divine version of the sorcerer, which I kind of liked. Path of Magic, a nice section on how to improve your familiar, giving it new abilities, which I really thought was nicely done. Spells and Spellcraft, that's kind of self-explanatory. It's expanding a little bit on skills, bunch of new spells, and feats appropriate to spell casters. The Seafarers Handbook, very good. I recommended this just recently to someone. It's not quite as not as large a scope as Stormrack, but it's still very solid. I really liked it. It had nice combat rules. Monsters Handbook, prestige classes, and feat options for buffing up your monsters so that your player characters will be surprised. And the last two, Traps and Treachery and Traps and Treachery 2, are all about traps. Think Grimtooth's traps, but updated for the 3rd edition era. Now, another thing I liked about this is the art is uniformly good throughout. It's all black and white. It's really well done. I have never been disappointed with the art in these books. They're really well done. So, if you're looking for a sampling of what Legends and Lairs has to offer, this book is what you may be looking for.